Welcome to the Copperfield Electric Podcast. This deep dive, well, it's really focused on those few moments that can feel like an eternity for a homeowner. That sudden panic, lights flickering like crazy, maybe a weird burning smell, or even sparks.
Mm-hmm. That critical moment.
Exactly. So, we're going to cut through all the noise and give you just the really essential, actionable stuff you need to know. Things that can prevent injury, fire, or really serious damage.
That first reaction is just so crucial, isn't it? Our source material today, it's all about providing that immediate expert advice for electrical emergencies. We've sort of combined that with the professional standards and the resources available from Copperfield Electric.
Yeah, and knowing these steps, it's like the ultimate shortcut to being ready. You don't need to suddenly become an electrician.
Right? Definitely not.
But you do need to recognize those red flags, those warning signs, and know the first, say, 3 things you absolutely have to do. That's the knowledge we're aiming to distill for you today. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. An emergency hits, time is, well, it's ticking, and panic starts creeping in. The first question is always going to be, who can I actually trust? And, maybe more importantly, can they get here now?
Right. Reliability and speed.
So before we dive into the tips themselves, let's quickly set the scene about the professionals whose standards we're kind of basing this on. Tell us a little about Copperfield Electric.
Okay. So Copperfield Electric, they really operate on 2 core ideas: professionalism and availability. They're a family-owned business focusing on electrical needs right here in Southern California.
Family-owned, okay.
Yeah. And what's really critical for you, the listener, is their commitment to safety. I mean, every single electrician is highly trained. The license number is 1094740, by the way.
Good to know.
Bonded, insured, and their background check, too,
Yeah.
which offers peace of mind,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And crucially, they're set up for that worst-case scenario no matter what time it is, right? They can actually respond.
Precisely. They are a 24-hour electrician. They offer 2,147 emergency services. Because, let's face it, electrical problems don't exactly stick to business hours.
Ha! Tell me about it.
And, beyond just the crisis stuff, they handle the whole range of electrical work. We're talking complex installations for new builds, including ADUs,
Yeah.
accessory dwelling units.
Oh, right. Those are popping up everywhere.
They are. And upgrading older electrical panels, which is a big one. Lots of older homes struggle with today's power demands.
That makes sense. And I know EV charger installation is huge now, too. They handle that.
Oh, yeah, that's a major area for them. Homes, businesses, you name it. Plus, of course, just general electrical troubleshooting and repairs. They cover the whole electrical picture, really.
Okay. And where exactly do they operate? You mentioned Southern California.
Yeah, their main focus is Orange County. So think Irvine, Anaheim, Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, Mission Viejo, places like that, and the surrounding Southern California areas, too. They're set up to be that immediate, reliable local resource when you need one.
Got it. So local, reliable, and ready 24/7. Okay. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Let's maybe paint a picture. You're at home, it's maybe late, and you smell something, like burning plastic, or maybe a light's flickering really fast. We need to be able to spot those red flags, the ones that signal real danger inside the walls, not just, a bulb burning out.
Yeah, that distinction is key. A lot of people, they only really react when they see actual smoke or sparks.
Yeah.
But the source material we looked at highlights several subtle but really critical warnings.
Like what?
Okay, first, that persistent burning smell or smoke. If it doesn't go away, it often means wire insulation is failing. It's getting too hot, maybe rubbing against something. That's basically a fire hazard actively developing, probably inside your wall.
Okay, that's scary. What about those flickering lights you mentioned? I mean, most people, myself included probably, would just assume the bulb's going bad. When is it more than that?
Well, if a light flickers consistently, especially if it's happening across, multiple lights on the same circuit, that points to stress on that circuit. Now, it could just be overloaded, too many things plugged in.
Right.
But often, the more dangerous culprit is a loose connection. Could be in the switch box, could be in the light fixture itself, or even back in the electrical panel.
And why is a loose connection so bad?
Because loose connections can cause arcing. That's where electricity literally jumps across the gap.
Right.
It creates this intense, focused heat. Really, really hot. And that heat can easily ignite nearby wood or insulation.
Wow. Okay, suddenly flickering lights seem a lot more sinister. What about, sometimes you touch an appliance or a switch and get a little shock, a little tingle.
Yeah, any kind of electric shock, no matter how mild it feels, is a major warning sign. It means electricity isn't staying where it's supposed to. It's escaping its path. Usually points to things like exposed wires, maybe a damaged cord on an appliance, or maybe a faulty ground connection. If you feel anything, that appliance or that outlet, it's compromised. It's absolutely unsafe. You need to unplug that thing right away.
Gotcha. Unplug immediately. Okay. And what if, say, the power goes out, but only in like half the house? My first thought might be to call the power company. Is that right?
Not always. If you have a power outage that's localized, just hitting certain parts of your home, maybe just one specific circuit, that's usually an internal problem.
Inside the house.
Exactly. It could signal a failing circuit breaker for that section, maybe a short circuit in the wiring for that area, or an issue inside your main electrical panel. Honestly, this kind of localized outage is often more immediately urgent than a whole neighborhood blackout because the danger is right there inside your walls.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say we've spotted one of these signs. Maybe that outlet feels hot or there's that definite burning smell. What is the absolute first thing you have to do, even before you think about calling someone?
The number one priority, without question, is to cut the power. Stop the flow of electricity. That means finding your electrical panel, your breaker box, and switching off the main breaker.
The big one at the top.
Usually, yeah, the main one. And this is important. You're not just flipping the little breaker for the circuit that seems iffy. You need to cut all the power coming into the house, instantly. This stops whatever's overheating, stops the arcing, and prevents things from getting worse fast.
Okay, shut it all down. But I know my first instinct would be to run to the panel. What if the panel itself is where the sparks are coming from, or it feels hot? I've heard horror stories.
That is the crucial safety point that sometimes gets missed in the panic. You should only go near that panel and flip that main breaker if the area around it is completely dry and safe to reach.
Right, that's key.
Absolutely. If there's any water pooling nearby, forget it. If the panel itself is visibly sparking, smoking, or looks like it's on fire, you stay away. Don't touch it. If you touch a compromised panel, especially if it's wet, you could literally become the path for the electricity.
Okay, so safety first. Assuming it is safe, we've managed to cut the main power. What's next? What are the immediate containment steps while we wait for, say, Copperfield Electric to arrive?
Right, containment. That means reducing any potential stress on the system and removing connections. So go around and unplug appliances and electronics, especially anything connected to the circuits you think were involved in the problem.
Why unplug them if the main power is off?
Good question. It ensures that when the electrician eventually restores power for testing or after the repair, there aren't a bunch of hydro devices immediately trying to pull power through a potentially still faulty or sensitive system. It just makes the restart safer.
Okay, that makes sense. Anything else for containment?
Yes, definitely. Keep people and pets away. Cordon off the area, basically. Keep everyone clear of the affected outlets, any visible wires, the breaker panel area. Just create a safe zone.
Right. Keep everyone clear. Okay. Now let's talk about the absolute worst case, the really scary one where minutes count. What if that burning smell actually turns into visible flames, an actual fire? People might grab that standard ABC fire extinguisher from the kitchen. How is an electrical fire different?
This is, and I really want to stress this, potentially a life or death difference. Electrical fires involve energized equipment, right? So you absolutely must only use a Class C fire extinguisher.
Class C, got it.
It's designed specifically for electrical fires. And the flip side of that is never ever use water or a standard Class A extinguisher because those often use water or water-backed foam.
Okay, why is water so bad? I mean, water puts out most fires.
Because water conducts electricity extremely well. If you spray water onto a fire that's still connected to a live electrical source, you're not putting it out. You're basically creating a live electrical current right back through that stream of water to you. Yeah, huge risk of electrocution. And just as bad, it can spread the electrical hazard, potentially making the fire bigger or starting new fires elsewhere as the electricity finds new paths through the water. Class C extinguishers use non-conductive stuff like carbon dioxide or special dry chemicals that smothers the fire without conducting electricity.
That is a huge, huge point. Everyone needs to know that. Class C for electrical. Okay, so let's say we've managed to safely turn off the main power, and maybe there are flames. When do we stop trying to handle it ourselves and just get out and call for help?
If there are active flames or significant smoke pouring out or maybe continuous sparking that you can see and you can't immediately and safely put it out with that Class C extinguisher, then your priority changes instantly.
Which is?
Get out. Evacuate the house immediately. Get everyone outside to a safe distance and then call 911. Your safety is paramount. The house structure itself is no longer safe at that point.
Yeah.
Let the professionals handle it.
Okay. Evacuate and call 911 if it's beyond a quick Class C fix. Got it. So shifting gears a bit, we've survived the immediate crisis, hopefully. What does all this mean for long-term safety? How can we maybe prevent this whole terrifying scenario from even happening?
Prevention really starts with avoiding some common but dangerous mistakes. First, the absolute biggest rule: avoid DIY electrical work. Seriously, don't try to repair wiring inside walls. Don't mess with the electrical panel yourself.
Even if it seems simple.
Even then, the risks are just too high. A tiny mistake in wiring might not show up immediately, but it could cause a fire weeks or months later, or you could get shocked right then and there. Licensed electricians, like those at Copperfield, are trained to follow strict safety codes for a reason.
Okay, no DIY. That's clear. What about overloading circuits? I know that's a big issue, especially in older houses like mine. Any rules of thumb?
Yeah, overloading is definitely common. You should never just keep plugging things into one outlet using power strips, especially high-draw appliances. Think space heaters, hair dryers, air conditioners, microwaves.
Things that use a lot of power.
Exactly. Don't run too many of those on a single circuit at the same time. And another big one: avoid using extension cords as, like, a permanent wiring solution. They're meant for temporary use only.
Why are extension cords bad long term?
They aren't rated for constant heavy load, typically.
Mm-hmm.
Relying on them day in, day out can lead to heat building up in the cord itself or at the plug connection. It's another one of those slow burn fire hazards that people don't see until it's too late. If you find yourself needing extension cords all the time, it probably means you actually need more outlets properly installed or maybe even a panel upgrade.
That's a good indicator. What about simple maintenance or organization? Anything there that helps?
Oh, absolutely. Basic vigilance goes a long way.
Sure.
Replace any power cords on your lamps or appliances if they look frayed or damaged. Don't just tape them up. Replace damaged plugs right away, too. And here's a really practical tip. Label your circuit breaker panel clearly. Spend like 20 minutes one afternoon, maybe with a flashlight and a pen, figuring out which breaker controls which rooms or major appliances. Make a little map, or just label directly.
Why is that so important?
Because in an emergency, when you're panicked and maybe the lights are out, you won't have time to guess which breaker to flip if you need to isolate just one circuit quickly. A clear map saves precious seconds and prevents you from accidentally shutting off the wrong thing, or worse, not shutting off the right thing.
Makes total sense. Okay, so let's say we do the right thing. We avoid DIY and we call in a professional like a 24-hour electrician from Copperfield. What should a homeowner expect when they arrive? What's the process look like?
Well, a professional approach is really systematic. It's not just guesswork. They'll typically start by testing the problem circuits and outlets. They need to pinpoint the exact nature of the fault. Is it a short circuit, an open circuit? Where is it happening?
So diagnosis first.
Exactly. Then they'll likely inspect the actual wiring, maybe open up switch boxes, look inside the main panel. They're searching for visual signs: heat stress, scorch marks, corrosion, loose connections, maybe signs of previous incorrect work.
Looking for the root cause.
Precisely. Based on that diagnosis, they'll recommend the specific repairs or replacements needed. Maybe it's replacing a faulty breaker, maybe fixing some damaged wiring, maybe upgrading an outlet. Then, crucially, after making the repair, they'll restore power safely and test everything again to make sure the problem is solved and, importantly, that the work meets all current electrical safety codes.
That whole systematic process, it really underlines why you need a pro, doesn't it? It's not just about swapping a wire. It's about understanding the whole system and ensuring it's safe afterwards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, when the potential consequences are things like fire or electrocution, there's just no room for error. That's why licensing and training are so important. Professionals know how to troubleshoot those complex faults that a DIY attempt would almost certainly miss. It gives you that peace of mind, knowing your home is actually safe again.
That was incredibly helpful, a real deep dive into managing these scary moments. If we had to boil it down, maybe the two most critical takeaways for listeners are, first, learn to spot those danger signs right away, especially things like unexplained burning smells or lights that flicker persistently.
Early detection.
And second, know exactly where your main breaker is and how to shut it off safely if it's safe to do so. And remember, electrical fires need that Class C extinguisher. No water.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting. Copperfield Electric mentions on their site that their competitive pricing and focus on troubleshooting can actually save homeowners money in the long run, which leads me to sort of a final provocative thought for you, the listener.
Okay, let's hear it.
Given all these potential hidden dangers we talked about, aging wiring, maybe overloaded circuits you don't even realize are overloaded.
Yeah.
How often should you maybe proactively schedule a professional electrical inspection, what Copperfield calls troubleshooting? Even if you haven't seen any obvious sparks or smelled anything burning, just to catch those small, unseen issues before they turn into a full-blown emergency disaster.
That's a really good question, thinking ahead. A proactive safety check definitely seems like a smarter and probably cheaper investment than dealing with the aftermath of an emergency.
Something to consider, definitely.
Be prepared, everyone. Prioritize safety by knowing these steps, internalizing them. And when things do go wrong with your power, rely on licensed experts. Don't take chances. If you need help, remember Copperfield Electric is ready 24/7. You can reach them at 626-622-9694. Stay safe out there.